Why is the gaming community so freaking toxic? Like that's been something that's been on my mind a lot for a long time, especially in the most recent weeks, given the current developments in the gaming community. Why is it that we are so toxic? How did we become this toxic? Because I know people want to use excuses like, well, it's just a game, it's just the internet and all this stuff, and I get that. But at the same time, it's like it is just a game. At the end of the day, it's not that serious, and yet you hear some of the most offensive and vitriolic comments you'll ever hear in life just playing games online. And it doesn't really make any sense because I used to play sports. I'm sure a lot of people who play games also play sports. And even in the sporting community or whatever, there's just certain things and phrases you don't do or say. And I feel like there's no boundaries when it comes to gaming. And is it because we're more anonymous, or is it just because we've become so entrenched in just being toxic piles of crap that we don't realize there's limits to things people should say and do? Like if you go online, you play like, let's say like Call of Duty or even like Overwatch, because Overwatch is pretty toxic too. You're gonna hear so many racial slurs. And if they find out you're a woman, that's gonna be 10 times worse. And if they find out you're an actual minority, that's gonna be 10 times worse. And the defense people mostly say is that you need to grow thicker skin or stop being so sensitive. My thing is, why is it that if I want to play games online and talk to other people, I have to be willing to endure countless amount of abuse when other people don't necessarily have to? And what I mean by that is because obviously most recently we've had instances of people using the N-word. And it's like, I'm a black person, you're a non-black person, we buy a game, we both get online, you get to play the game, I get to play the game, but we have very different experiences because if someone says, "Oh, you're such a effing N-word," that doesn't affect you, but it affects me. And now it's like I have to be the one to have a thicker skin because I have to deal with this shit in real life and while I'm playing a game to have fun. And if I don't want to do it while I'm playing a game, suddenly I'm this big, huge social justice warrior, or I'm too sensitive, rather than the person saying it's just being an asshole. And we have people who would defend that person being an asshole, and I don't understand that. Like, why is it that in this community it's so okay to be such a terrible, shitty person? You can't keep using the excuse that he the moment, or you were just having a bad day or whatever. Like, this is a continual issue to the point where even Jeff Kaplan, who does Overwatch, he's made a video about the toxicity of the gaming community actually ruining their work on Overwatch, because instead of designing new characters and maps or events, they're spending time trying to filter out toxic players. Like, it's so bad that it's actually affecting game development in a way. And yet you still have people in the community trying to defend that. Like, people will die on a hill defending someone's right to call you a racial slur, but they will scoff at you if you say, hey, maybe instead of, calling someone an N-word or another offensive word, maybe you just don't do that. Like, the concept of not being a piece of shit is so lost in the gaming community. It's crazy. Just look what happened with Cuphead. One of these game beat writers, I forgot his name, I'll put it somewhere in this video. He did a demo of Cuphead. Was he great at it? No. But the backlash he got, and he wasn't even reviewing the game. Like, people were so ready to be mad. They're like, oh, I can't believe he's reviewing the game. If you're going to review the game, you got to be good at it. And I'm like, he's not even reviewing the game. He's just playing it. And no, he's not good, but he doesn't have to be. But people get so mad for this shit, and I'm like, why? Like, not everyone who plays video games is great at every single video game. That's just not true. Not your favorite Let's Players, not even your favorite pros. They're not good at every single video game they play. They're not good at those particular games, but even you, person who thinks they never get killed, it's just bad connections or someone's listening or cheating, you're not good at every game either. So to hold this person to that impossible standard is insane. And yet this is commonplace in the gaming community. Like, if I was trying to introduce someone to the gaming community, I would tell them to never go online. And that's shitty, because part of the gaming community is playing online. A lot of games are online, but a lot of popular games are multiplayer. And games have become much more social as we become more social. So communicating with people on the internet kind of is important, especially if you play games like Destiny, if you want to do a raid or something. Like, not everyone has friends they play with. People make friends via social networks like video games, like multiplayer lobbies and chat rooms and whatnot. So it's kind of weird to be like, if you want to have a good time, don't interact with one of the main selling points of this game because you're gonna have a terrible time. And it just boggles my mind that it's so acceptable. Like it's so acceptable. Like people in the community can't even admit when shit is bad. Like this is the most non-self-aware community I think that exists. Like gamers want people to take video games seriously. They want video games to be seen as art. They want to be respected, and yet when there's any valid criticism levied towards it, it's always met with these shrieks and wails, and it's like all we do is perpetuate the stereotype that we're all like man children or man babies who live in a freaking basement somewhere with like a bunch of acne and Cheetos and shit and just talk shit online all day. Like, we don't seem like we're rational people capable of handling criticism. I mean, look what happened with the whole Gamergate thing. Like, yes, I know there was a subsection of it where it was mostly about how the games media and games journalists are kind of being shitty, which part of that was true, but you can't dismiss the fact that there was a lot of harassment going on. And even if it wasn't from the community, the fact that people who use that to harass latch so quickly and blended in so easily within that speaks volumes to the problems of the gaming community. That's all I'm saying. Like, this has been going on for years, and now it's coming to a head. Like, now it's developers no longer being quiet about it. Now it's the media is paying more attention to gaming because gaming is now a $1 billion hobby for most of us, but it's also $1 billion industry. So that's going to get more eyeballs, more attention. And as that happens, we need to be able to be more critical of ourselves and be like, hey, we shouldn't do that. We should try to be better than this. We need to stop having these freaking narratives where it's like all gamers are racist, all gamers are sexist. Because even if it's not true, when people look up gamers and they look up that shit, that's what they're going to see. They're going to see famous gaming YouTuber users anywhere. They're going to see the stories of women online who are getting harassed because they criticize the game for its portrayal of women. Because let's be real, games don't typically portray women very well. That's just true. You can talk about your Metroids and whatever, but that's far and few between. And even with Metro, they kind of fucked up with Other M. But these people have valid criticisms, and instead of us, taking time to understand those criticisms, see where other people are coming from, we're trying to force them to see where we're coming from. But where we're coming from isn't a good place. Like, imagine if you were going into moving into a new town or a new city, and the mayor greets you, and they go, welcome to our new town. You're gonna get shot at 10 times a day. We're gonna take half your money just cause, and you can only eat between the hours of 5 p.m. and 5:30. So yeah, like that doesn't sound very inviting. But people are gonna be like, well, that's our lifestyle. Well, your lifestyle is shit. Like, I'm sorry. And people get so mad about the whole, oh, we're forcing diversity. Like, diversity is not bad. Well, that's what gets me so frustrated the most. Like, diversity is never bad. Having different viewpoints or different ideas, different beliefs is never inherently bad. Some might be more extreme than others, and some might be outright wrong. But a lot of the times, having diversity is great, especially when it comes to being creative. Like, a lot of things people have right now, whether they realize it or not, comes from diversity, especially in video games. Like, do you guys think that all video games are made by just like straight white guys? Like every single video game? Like, do you not know a lot of minorities and a lot of people of different sexual orientations play video games? So if there's a game that maybe doesn't have some big burly cis white male as a lead, it doesn't mean that these people are forcing diversity. What it means is that people are being more aware, especially creators, that hey, our consumer base is more than just this one thing. So how about we try to represent more of them? That's all it is. And yet having representation in video games becomes another contention point, and I don't understand that. Like, I have to be okay with playing guys like Nathan Drake or Marcus Phoenix or any of the other countless guys that are out there. But if you have to play as, I don't know, let's just say CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, that's an issue. If you have to play as a female, that's an issue. Like, that's so weird to me. Like, what does it matter? Like, it's shit like that where I'm just like, this community is toxic as all hell, and I don't see it getting better. I really don't. Not unless there's a huge concerted effort to do so. And when I see people talking about hey, these might more diversity, and it's met with such resistance, I'm just like, I don't know what to do here. So this is just kind of a rant on the rest of the toxicity of gaming. It's gotten real bad, you guys. Like, it's gotten real bad, and it needs to stop. it just needs to stop because now people don't even want to admit that they're gamers anymore. Like now you have developers who I just watched a video on this. Developers who are afraid to talk about games because of backlash from gamers. Because gamers think they know everything about gaming and not everything about development. That if a developer says, "Oh, this one thing's pretty hard," they're gonna get hit with questions about the competency of them at their jobs or how come they can't do it after a game developer and whatnot. And I'm just like, there's no other community out there that has such a close relationship with the creators, and I feel like we're almost abusing that because now it's like we have all this access to these people, but instead of being more grateful or at least being critical in a constructive way, we're just assholes to these people who work hours upon hours upon hours in making the games that we play and criticize, and we treat them like shit. Like I wouldn't want to be friends with fans either if all that I get is shit about how I'm terrible at my job or I suck at this or I don't know this from people who could probably not even code their way for a paper bag. So that's just my piece on this. I don't know why this is so rambly. I'm sorry. I just just do better. Just do better.